So what does it really mean to make an impact? We hear that phrase all the time. Today, we're going to deconstruct some of the common ideas about greatness and build a whole new framework, a simple but really profound code for personal impact. Let's dive in.
Okay, right out of the gate, we're hit with this fundamental choice. Are you waiting or are you building? This contrast right here, it's the foundation for everything we're going to talk about. It's that huge shift from a passive mindset to an active one, where you realize you are the main force for change in your own life.
All right, so if you're going to change your world, where in the world do you even begin? Well, it's not with things out there. It starts right here, inside your own mind. The first principle is that any true, lasting change has to start with mastering your internal world.
Now, this idea, it challenges our most basic assumption. We're kind of taught to see reality as this fixed, solid thing that just happens to us. But this framework suggests it's more like clay. Your perception, your willingness to be bold and see it differently, is the force that can actually shape it. It's what lets you find a door where everybody else just sees a wall. And this is the core definition of that power. Look, we can't control what the stock market does or what happens in the news, but we have absolute total dominion over our inner world. We're the ones who decide if that internal world is defined by scarcity and fear, or if we're going to intentionally fill it with abundance, a sense of purpose, and wonder. Making that choice, that is power.
So, you've started to shape your inner world. That's great, but how does that actually translate into real-world impact? Well, it's through the engine that drives the whole thing, authenticity. I really want you to let that sink in for a second. We always talk about carrying our work, like it's this heavy burden we have to haul around. This just flips that whole script. Work that has a real impact isn't something you drag along. It's something that lifts you up, that propels you, because it's a genuine extension of who you are.
And this just brilliantly lays out the consequences. The source material couldn't be clearer here. It's not that inauthentic work is just, less effective. No, it's that it has no energetic force at all. It doesn't resonate, it doesn't connect, and it sure doesn't shift anyone's thinking. It's just noise.
So, the most important point is right here. 0. That's the impact score for anything you do that isn't lined up with who you really are. See, authenticity isn't some soft skill or a nice-to-have. It's the absolute baseline requirement if you want to make any kind of difference.
And this is how you put it into practice. We waste so much energy performing for other people, trying to live up to someone else's highlight reel on social media, but the second you drop that performance and just focus on becoming more of yourself, the whole game changes. You can't copy greatness, you've got to uncover your own.
Now, this path of becoming yourself, it's almost never a smooth, easy ride. And that's exactly the point. The challenges you face, they aren't obstacles standing in the way of your greatness. They are the very things that are forging it.
So what keeps you going through that struggle? It's not the applause. It's not the external validation. The real, sustainable motivation is service. It's that burning desire to take the lessons that were forged in your own fire and use them to light the way for other people.
This is such a critical reality check. We always see the polished final product, the influence, the success, but we miss the years they spent in the fire, the self-doubt, the setbacks, the times they were crushed by defeat. Seeing struggle in your life isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's proof that you're on the path.
So how do you turn that struggle into strength? Well, it's a 4-step process. First, you have to confront defeat. Head on, no excuses. Then you actively use that struggle as fuel. Third, you've got to surround yourself with people who challenge you, superior minds you can learn from. And finally, this is the most important one. You conquer your own inner limits. It's always an internal battle before it becomes an external victory.
And this all leads us to a really powerful new conclusion. It's time to just throw out the old, broken scorecards we use for success and grab onto a more meaningful definition of what it really means to be great.
First up, let's just tear down the old ideas. Greatness is not perfection. Chasing perfection is an impossible standard. And you know what it leads to? Not excellence, it leads to paralysis. You just get stuck.
It's also not about status. Things like job titles, awards, your social standing, that's all external validation. And as we've already figured out, true impact always starts from the inside.
And finally, it is absolutely 100% not having a flawless record. In fact, let's just flip that whole idea on its head.
a record without any struggle or failure. That's not a sign of greatness. It's a sign you haven't been aiming high enough.
So if it's not any of that stuff, what is it? It's the combination of everything we've just talked about. It's the courage to be fully and truly yourself. It's the discipline to keep growing, especially through the hard times. And it's the will to channel all of that energy into serving something bigger than you. This is the code. This is the mark of real, lasting impact.
And that brings us right back to the very beginning. The goal isn't to sit back and wait for the world to change for you. It's about what you're going to do, starting today, in the one world you have total control over. So the only question left is, what will you build?